In the last session, we discussed about the active relationship and inactive relationship, and also we discussed about how to, create the relationship between the tables. So just this is on the one side, and this is on the many side. Star wherever you see, right? So in general, we in the case of star schema, we will have fact table. Alongside the fact table, you will find the star, and the dimension the dimension table side you can find one. So that means one to many relationship. Here one to many relationship we have here, and in the case of one to many relationship, which is the dimension to fact table relationship, the cross filter direction usually set to be single. Look here. So we used to set it to single. I hope you would have noticed yesterday, right? So today what we are going to do is we are going to discuss about the importance of the direction of the filter. Okay, that is what we are going to discuss it. Let me just, okay, others joined. Okay, good. So we'll start, no problem. So let's not wait any longer for others to join. So okay, in today's session, we will take a look at the importance of the direction of the filter that we specify while defining a relationship in Power BI. And look here, so this is my dimension table, this is my fact table. You can see multiple dimension tables, and in this case we have two fact tables. But when you see here, this dimension table, these dimension, one second. Yes, these dimension table, three dimension tables were not linked directly to the fact table. Instead, these 1, 2, 3 dimension tables linked with this product dimension table. So it is, with this we can understand that it is not a star schema, it is a snowflake schema, because so we have they already did some normalization for this dimension table. Instead of storing the subcategory category into a single table, one second here, I think I just delete this one. Instead of storing the product subcategory and category in a single table, they denormalized into three different tables. Sorry, they normalized into three different tables. In fact, the product table got normalized into three different tables. So they stored the subcategories in a separate dimension. Similarly, category also they stored in a separate dimension table. So these two dimension tables are not directly filtering the fact table. Rather, the product table is the one filtering the fact table, and here also the product table is filtering the reseller sales, and the dimension table is filtering this one. So if you look at the arrow here, so the filtering direction goes from your dimension table to your fact table. Okay, it is a unidirectional relationship. So we have created a unidirectional relationship between these two tables, and here also there is a unidirectional relationship. The keys are, the subcategory key is flowing from this table to the dimension table product in this direction, and here also the same thing. Okay, so see, in real time scenario, right? So in the case of real time scenario, we often come across many to many relationship related issues, right? Okay, so in the case of many to many relationship, what is many to many relationship? Before we proceed further, let us first understand what is many to many relationship, and why it is, why we can't implement it upfront. So first let us understand that what is many to many relationship. For example, a single customer can buy multiple products, and each product can be bought by multiple customer. Okay, so there is a many to many relationship between these two tables. Okay, so in this case, in order to implement the many to many relationship, we need an intermediary table. See, in this table we have customer key, in this table we have a product key, and product category key or subcategory key or category key. So it's all related to product. Here we have only customer related data here. So if I wanted to know which customer purchased which product or which product purchased by which customer, we don't have the common key column between these two tables first of all. In the case of one to many, we know very well. So the common column between these two tables are customer key. With this, we are able to create a relationship between these two tables. Hence, the customer table can filter the sales table and product table can, because there is a one-to-many relationship or many-to-one, right? So one-to-many relationship. In the case of one-to-many relationship, the cross filter direction of single means that the one side of the relationship filters the many side. That is what you need to remember it. Okay. See, now so far we discussed about unidirection, right? Unidirection. So here also the unidirection and here also the unidirection. We have something else called bidirection. Look here, if you go and enable it both, that means it's a bidirectional relationship. The bidirectional relationships are helpful. One second, there is a noise here. Let me close it. The bidirectional relations are very much helpful with bridge table or junction tables. Okay, and what do you mean by bridge table and junction table? So this kind of a bridge table, junction table. When it comes to star schema, we don't call the fact table as a junction table, but this is the funda. As I told you, right? So when it comes to many-to-many relationship, we cannot filter these two tables directly. Instead, we need a junction table because we can filter the one-to-many only. So we can filter the dimension table. You can filter the sales table by the dimension table only. One-to-many only. With one-to-many only, you can do filtering. Many-to-many, you cannot do filtering directly. So hence, you need an intermediary table. It is also called as a link table or junction table or a bridge table. Different people use different terms, but end of the day, when it comes to many-to-many relationship, you need a intermediary table. So in this table, we have customer key and we have product key. Okay. So but when it comes to star schema, we don't call this a junction table, but because the fact tables captures the facts along with the dimension keys. The dimension tables are helpful in terms of providing the context to the measures that are part of the fact table. What do you mean by measure? Measures are nothing but the numerical value for extended amount, and you have something called the sales amount. Let's say we can see some let's take for example in a specific record we could see that 10,55,000. The value is 10,50,000 for a specific record. If I say 10,55,000, it doesn't make any sense. Or if I say 600, does that mean the sales of the number of so if I say 600 upfront in the case of sales amount column, so what does it say? Is that related to product A or product B or product C, or is that related to the product A purchased by a so and so customer? If you say blindly, right, $600, then what does that mean? So to provide context to these measures, we need the dimension. The dimensions tables are holding the descriptive information. With the descriptive, for example, here the customer name is there. By joining these two tables with customer key, we can get the customer name from this table. This is a lookup table. It's kind of a lookup table. Okay. So if I say so-and-so customer bought so-and-so item, so the cost of the sale amount for that customer is so-and-so, right? $600. Customer A bought product A at the cost of, they bought two quantity. These two quantity cost $600. In order to provide context to this amount or quantity numeric value, we need the descriptive information. Those descriptive information we don't store in a single table. We store it in a dimension tables. Already we discussed why we are not storing all the information in a single file. It can lead to redundancy. We don't want to store everything in a single table. So now what I do is I just go to this report canvas. So there are two approaches. There are two approaches to deal with many-to-many relationship. Two approaches to deal with many-to-many relationship. So the one is what we do is we enable the cross filter direction both. Number two is we use DAX function. Using DAX function, like in the case of inactive relationship, to activate that inactive relationship as an active function temporarily, we have used a function called use relation. So now itself I started the DAX related function, use relation function, right? Last session, that is what we discussed. This is part of inactive relationship. To activate the inactive relation temporarily as an active one, right? So inactive to active, temporarily activated, we use DAX function. One approach is DAX, right? The DAX function, we used it. The other approach is we have used manually, right? So we went to the edit manage relationship dialog box. There were not there, sorry. What we did, we created the relationship, right? We created role playing dimension. We used role playing dimension approach. There are two approaches. These are the two approaches. We can use it to enable, this one we use it to enable the inactive relationship to active relationship temporarily. When it comes to role playing dimension, you don't need inactive relationship at all, right? So instead what we did, we just duplicated the existing date dimension table. We just renamed it, both the date dimension, right? Since I duplicated the date dimension table, both the table have the same information in it. So each of the both, right? So what we did, we connected, we created a separate link between the sales table with these two date dimension tables. Since there is no need of having a inactive relation. Only when you have an inactive relation, you'll have to use DAX and all, right? You don't have to. But the best approach is DAX. Okay, you don't have to create multiple tables. If you use multiple dimensions, multiple fact tables, it'll increase the number of tables. On a case-to-case basis, you can decide. If the number of tables are less, then you can go for role-playing dimension approach. And number of the date columns also less. So in that case, you can go for role-playing dimension. But the DAX has a lot of advantages with it. If you want to combine the results of the two, query, right? You can combine it together. Like I showed you yesterday, in the last session, right? So the order, sales amount by order date, sales amount by ship date. If you want to combine these two things into a single visual, it is possible with DAX, right? With minimal effort, you can do it. Fine. When it comes to addressing the many-to-many relationship, two approaches are available. Either you can go to the settings, wherein you can change the single direction to both, okay, so that it will become many-to-many relationship, okay. And the next one is DAX function. We have something called cross filter function is available. This is this is to enable temporarily the bidirectional relationship between the tables. Now the question is, okay, the technical part approaches are fine. So what scenarios we enable this one, right? So in what kind of scenarios we can enable the cross filter direction both. I told you already many to many relationship, but again, so I'll just throw some scenarios. So scenario one is, for example, in your report canvas, this is my report canvas. Okay, see, after this today's session we'll start the visualization part. Okay, and then once I start the visualization, probably we will continue the visualization part in 1 or 2 session, and then we will jump into DAX, so that whenever I use different visuals, you should be able to understand, right? So you need to have some amount of knowledge on visual. Okay, so okay, when it comes to report canvas, this you are developing a report. In that report, you are using slicers. Okay, you are using a slicer. So we use, that is a common, that's a basic or fundamental requirement, using slicer, because only when you have the slicer in your report or dashboard or in your report, so it will be very interactive. Rather than sharing a static report, if you share a report with slicer, you are enabling the end users to choose whichever items that they want or they intend to see the report, or whatever the filter they want to apply it, let them apply it. You are empowering them to apply the filter on the visuals, so that they can look at the reports in different aspect. Okay, supposing you want to see north region alone, sales, right? All the visuals, all the charts, whatever you are using in your report canvas will get reflected. Okay, will get refreshed. And if you want to see the south region sales, when you select the south in the slicer, I just create, yeah, the slicer, all the south region related data will get populated or refreshed in the other visuals like bar chart and even your donut chart, right? So all the things will get the filter. It's basically, slicer is kind of a filter. Okay, this filter sits on your report canvas. So there is another filter is available here, which we'll discuss it later. It is too early to discuss. This is a slicer. For example, this is slicer, I'm using it, and I just create another slicer here. So here, whatever the item that I selected here, so the same item should get filtered in this slicer also. Slicer is also called as a visual. Okay, so what I do is, in the interest of when I select any value in this slicer, the corresponding value or the data should get filtered in the other slicer also, and vice versa. If I select, for example, the product A, B here, automatically in the other slicer, those customer purchase product A and B, it should be displayed there. We'll start with a simple data set, because this one has a lot of data in it. Upload this one, NC sales. This has very less number of data, hence it will run faster. Anyhow, we need to work on that report also. That's the reason why I just opened that one also. So I just simply load the sales data. First, let us be familiar with these data. It is always a good idea, or good, it is also always a best practice. First, try to explore the data, at least at a high level. Okay, NC sales, here we can see some blank column, let it be there. And this is my category. So what I do is I just rename this table with some meaningful name, dim category or dimension. We always use, most of the project we use this naming convention for dimension table. The dimension table name will start with dim category, and the next one is the customer table, customer dimension. We call that as a dim customer. Next, we just go to the model view. We are in the model view, and here the dim customer has some issue here. Let's go ahead. Very simple issue. The column names are not, the column header is not picked up automatically. Everything is fine, and even this, only this one has problem. Go to transform and select use first row as headers. Little bit cleaning is enough. Otherwise the data is good. Yes, I just go and close and apply. Okay, good. So now it automatically created the relationship between these two tables. We don't have that headache because we have used the proper naming convention here. Category also is not fine. Yeah, 1 second, I'll just show you. So you need to hold your control, and if you do, if you use your mouse roller, right, it will show, it will minimize it. Okay, you can zoom in, zoom out. Okay, so category is there here. Okay, category also we did not see, right? Okay, I did not see. Good catch. Header names, very good, very good. Srinivas. Okay. Yes, there is a mistake here. It is not using the headers. I just selected the headers, category ID, everything is fine now. Good. It is somewhat same as that one. And let me do one thing. Let me remove this. Let it be there in the interest of time, right? So customer ID, if I hover the cursor here, yes, good, and product ID and cat ID, so everything is good. But column 7 is something wrong here. So it doesn't have any, it's an empty column. Okay, I should have removed it. Anyhow, let it be there. We are not going to use anything. We are not going to do anything with this column. But ideally, when it comes to real-time scenario, make sure that you don't have empty columns, something like this. Okay, you remove it. Fine. So now what I will do is I'll just show you the scenario one. We'll start with the scenario one. Okay, I'll start with the scenario one is something like. So here we have 3 tables. 4 tables are there. So this table is having a direct relationship with this one to many, and here also we have one to many relationship. Hence these 2 tables can filter the sales table, whereas this one is not directly connected with this one. Hence you cannot directly filter this table. Okay, and the situation is these 2 are so customer and product table, as I told you, these 2 are having many to many relationship. Anyhow, we have junction table, which is nothing but the fact table in this case. But in star schema, we don't call it as a junction table, but you just keep it at the back of your head. This kind of a junction table. Okay, so in this you have the customer ID, and then the product ID is also there in this. Okay, And also you have the measures like facts or measures, quantity, sales amount. These are called your the facts or measures. Okay, the numeric variable, including the list price and all. So next, what I do is, so in this case, I so with this table I can filter this one, and with this table I can filter this one. Since I don't have any direct relationship between these two tables, I cannot filter the product table by customer table and vice versa. Why should I have to filter these two tables? Yes, if you want to do, I just show you there is a reporting requirement. There is a reporting requirement. I thought of starting with the slicer story. Okay, that scenario. Anyhow, we will start with this one. We'll see here. So now what I do is I just select the customer and sales and product. For example, I have a need, something like product name. Sorry, I should have selected this one. This is my product name, and we want to see the sales amount for each product, how much we sold. So for cashew nut, what is the total sales? For eggs, how much we sold in total, right? So that is what you can see it here. Fine. The next one is product name and sales amount. I have something like okay. The next one is I just need to understand the total number of transactions for each product, total number of orders that we received for each product. Okay, what I do is I just go and select this order number column. Look here, in the case of order number column, it shows sum because it is a whole number. What I do is I just make it count. All we need is we need to know the number of records, total number of records. Hence I just selected this aggregation as count here, and I just check mark this one. Look here, the cashew nut, we have 3 transactions, and in 3 transactions we sold cashew nut, we can say that way. And coffee, we sold it in 2 transactions. Dry grapes, we sold it in 1 transaction. Egg, we sold it in 6 transactions. So we have used product table and sales table. Since there is a one-to-many relationship between these two tables, product and sales, it is filtering it perfectly, no issues. Now the situation is, so I just rename this to give some meaningful thing, right? So you should not think it's order number. It is, so you can rename it this way. Okay, you just click on this one and you rename for this visual. You are just renaming it for this visual. You are not going to disturb it here. Order number will still, this column name will remain as it is, but only in this visual. Sorry, I say total transactions. Good. The next one is I want to know how many number of customers purchased. So 3 transactions, maybe 3 customers, maybe 2 customers they would have, right? Probably 1 customer you would have purchased this one in 3 different situations, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the customer ID column. So here, look here. So I'm going to this column, and here what I do is I just go and do the count here. Fine, I just check mark this, and I just say count. Though I selected the aggregation as count, it was not reflecting here. So here you can, when you click on here, it will open the properties for this one. Here the contextual menu, here you can rename this visual, and also you have an option for using this kind of the aggregation count distinct when it, since this is a text, it's alphanumeric value, right? So only these options are first, last. Here there is no point in having some function, hence we are left it only these two options. I just selected count. When I selected count, it shows the total number of customers. It repeats all the 6 customers, right? In total we have 6 customers. For each record it repeats 6666. The reason is we have a many-to-many relationship. When it comes to many-to-many relationship, it will not do the filtering automatically. Please remember this. One-to-many, it does the filtering. Okay. Many-to-many, it does not do the filtering automatically. So what is the way out now? So now we are filtering the customer dimension from product dimension. In other words, you want to filter the customer direction. Same thing, right? Product. So what I do is I just go here. I just open up the dialog box, right? So dialog window for edit relationship. Here I just go and change the filter direction to both. And when I select OK, so now the sales table can filter customer table. Okay. So now what will happen is, since the filtering can happen in both direction, right? So now product table can filter the customer dimension. Now we will go and verify that here. Cool. It's working fine, right? It's perfectly doing this one here. For cashew nut, 2 customers, they purchased it. In total 3 transactions happened. That means of these 2, one guy would have repeated the same item, right? Repeat purchase. And other guy 2, here 2 and 1 and look here X, only 4 customers they bought X, but in 6 transactions they bought this one. It's pretty simple. Now you understood, if you have many-to-many relationship like this, right, the Power BI will not filter it automatically. You need to enable the cross filter direction both. Only then it does the filtering. So now I just rename this column with some meaningful name. Okay, and if I remove this one, what will happen? Sorry, if I reset it back to single, so the 6 will repeat for each and every product. Okay, because it is, since we have the many-to-many relationship, if you set it back as single, the cross filter direction, it will not do the filtering automatically because of many-to-many relationship. It's as simple as that. Okay. And the another scenario is another approach, right? See, enabling this direction, both direction, involves some kind of performance issues. Okay. You cannot always enable this one unless if it is really required, right? So then you can enable it. Okay. There is a trade-off. So if you enable this cross filter direction both, it can lead to some kind of degradation in your performance, especially when you work with multiple dimensions. And let us look at this one now. Category is there, right? I just go to this one. Before jump into the next scenario, first we will look at this one. Okay. And we have another alternative. Instead of enabling it, right, without even enabling the cross filter direction both, we can use DAX function. And we will check the category also. We will see, let's say I just want to see the, let's use the same thing. Let's let's use this time the customer. Okay, or instead of the customer, what I do is, this is not the correct thing. Best thing what we'll do is we'll go by the order number. I just check on the order number and sales amount. Don't summarize. Okay, so now what I want to do is, in each order, how many number of categories, right? How many number of categories, the customers they purchased it. So for that, what I do is I just go and check mark this. But before that, I just go and see it here. So this is a text data type, but still I just go ahead and select this one, and here I just go and set it as count. Look here, it is not filtering because this category table is not directly linked with the sales table. Okay, next what I do is I just select now I wanted to see in each order how many number of products purchased. The same thing. Okay, here total transaction, total number of customers. So now I'm interested in each order how many number of products they purchased it. What I do is I just go here and I just check mark this, and I just change it to count. So even this one is also not filtering it correctly, right? So here, because we are started with order number, and then the one second I just okay, this is the one is still enabled, and the product ID is also repeating here. So what I do is I just go here and now we wanted to filter it from here to here, order number, and now it is coming out correctly, 5112. See, by default, right? So this dimension table filters the fact table because of the one-to-many relationship. But now we have started with the order number. Now we wanted to filter in this opposite direction. So in that case, you need to enable the bidirection, right? So both. But still, this one is having problem because the category table is not directly linked up with this table. So in that case, I need to enable the cross filter direction as both. Now if I do this, it is doing perfect job. So how many number of products that we ordered it in this order, each order we can see it. What we will do is either we can go here, better what I am going to do is I just go and check my data file here. I just open this one and this one, right? And the product. Since we have less number of data, we can analyze it in a pretty fast manner. Okay, so this is the one. Look here, in this order number 210, I just filter the order number 210. So order number 210, sorry, not this one, I opened the wrong file. Having multiple file is also a problem. So XLSX, yeah, XLSX, and here I have the, yeah, this is the one I should have opened it, right? NC sales. So we could see that 5 orders are there for 210. So when you look at here, the, yeah, 5 products, right? In general we have 5 different products, P001, P005, P006. Yeah, here we are looking at the number of products in each order. 210 we have sold. Yeah, we raised, we sold the items in 5 different, in this order, 5 different items we sold it. 5 number of products we got it. And the category ID for this, the 4. So the category ID is, you need to look at the category table. Look here for this one, for cross verification we'll use this one. If you look here, the order number 210, we need to compare that one. So P001 falls under C001, right? So P001 and is in C001, and P005 is again C001. Okay, no, this is a customer ID. Product ID is P001, is related with C001. Okay, and P005 is related to C002, 2 categories, and then P006 is 004, and 7 and 11. If you look at 7 is 5 and 11 is again 5. Look here, for 5 different product, right? So we ordered in 4 different categories. Got it? That's what we can say it here. You understood, right? So in this case, we are supposed to enable these 2 filter direction as both. If you are using multiple dimension, what will happen is, especially when you use the date dimension, if you specify the bidirectional relationship for a date dimension with fact table, it is a overkill, because date dimension used by many many cases, right? So you will be generating different reports, you will be joining multiple tables, right, with your fact tables. In that case, it'll be overkill. Okay, it is not advisable using the dimension table to, or enabling the cross filter direction both for date table is not advisable. Okay, now you understood to filter the dimension category, right? So using dimension category to filtering this one is not possible directly. And again, right, so filtering the product table in this direction from sales to product, it is not possible. You need to enable bidirectional. So now the alternative for this one is, since enabling the bidirectional relationship for all the table is a overkill, unless there is any requirement, right? Any serious requirement. In that case, you can enable it. On a case-to-case basis, you'll have to decide whether whether you can go and enable the direction as both, right? That you need to decide on a case-to-case basis. But when we have an alternative like the cross filter DAX function, right? That is enough. That is more than enough. But again, so if you enable this one both, and if you use DAX functions to perform different types of analytics, it can cause some kind of performance issues. Sometimes it may not be accurate also. Okay, because multiple tables got enabled with bidirectional relationship. In that kind of situation, sometimes it might cause some problem, the DAX functions. Okay, It is better not to use the manual way of setting this one. Instead, programmatically you can enable the direction, the filter direction, both programmatically using cross filter function. Okay, that is the best practice. Okay, the next scenario is, for example, I just go here, I just create a two slicer, and I'm going to use this sales table here. Going to use, or let me just select here and sales amount. This is how in our data view we could see, isn't it? So this is my sales table, this is my customer table and product table. These are the slices. When you create a report, you need to give the flexibility to the end user to use 2 or 3 or 4 slicers, right, to enable them to interactively query the report. Okay, so for example, if I select Chris, automatically the products whatever the Chris purchased should be filtered here, should get filtered in this slicer. And look here also it got filtered. It's all happening because we have enabled the bidirectional relationship between all the tables. In the table visual, you can just see it for your reference. Okay, and Chris, and this is the one is for product name. Good. So everything is fine. And for example, if I clear the slicer, right, this one, right, how do I do that? There is some eraser kind of icon here. If you click on here, this filter will get cleared off. Okay, now, so if I select any item here, the customer slicer should also get sliced. The X was purchased by Chris, Hemal and Stephen for, look here in the customer table, and then in the product table whatever we write. So look here, the total sales for the X 1504. Okay, and also you can use the customer name here for for our reference, because we have enabled the bidirectional relation with all the tables, right? So Chris, Hemal, Stephen, Victor, these guys. The message, the takeaway here is, if I select if I apply the filter in this slicer, right, the corresponding value should get filtered in this slicer and the other visual. If I go and remove this, for example, if I make it single, in that case the product table cannot filter the dimension table, but the dimension table still can filter the product table, because here you have the bidirectional relationship. Now let's go and check it here. The customer table can filter. One second, I'll just clear this. Let's say if I select Chris here, it is filtering this one, isn't it? The cashew nut, eggs, individual meats, whatever he purchased it. but in the product table it is not filtering it. Here also it is not happening, right? We don't see anything here. And let me just clear this one here. Since there is a bidirectional relationship exists between these two, we are able to filter this table using customer dimension table. And if I apply a filter on this table, let us see whether it is going to filter it, the customer table, or not. No, right? It is filtering here, because here we have used product name as the first column, right? So it is filtering because these two have bidirectional relationship, but it is not filtering the slicer. Okay, it should filter the other associated slicer also automatically. It is not doing it because of the relationship. In case you find any repeated values in your visual, or right, or in case of any sort of issues, then there is a problem with the relationship. Either you wouldn't have specified you wouldn't have used the proper column names, right, between the tables. Probably you would have used the customer ID, cust ID column here, and here you would have used some other column here. You would have chosen wrong column to create the relationship, number one. Number two is the filter direction. Now you understood, right? So how you need to enable, right? So in what situations, in what context you need to enable the filter direction both. So this is scenario 2. So here, if you want to filter from product table to customer dimension table, then you need to enable the cross, the bidirectional relationship here. The opposite is true if you want to filter the product table by your customer table. Okay, and instead of enabling this physically, the settings in the dialog window, right? So what we do is we use the DAX function. So scenario 1 is this one. Okay, so after enabling this, the simple calculation, right? It is happening it correctly. And this another scenario is the filtering in your slicer. You are using slicers, multiple slicers. The slicer should get filtered automatically. Look here, now we have another category. I should have told you that time itself. Anyhow, I just select the category here. X belong to dairy. Correctly, it is doing it. I just show you one more time. X bought by Chris. I think one second. This is the one. If I select dairy here, and in this category, X was purchased by Chris, Hamel, and Stephen. Okay, and if I apply the filter on Chris, so he bought Chris. One second, dairy, right? So let me just clear this. Okay, let's say if I want to see the personal care, right? Personal care related products are this, and those customers purchased personal care, we can see it here. Automatically it does the filtering. And also if you can see here, shampoo and John, right? Look here, John, Roch, those guys you see here, the same guys are, you can see it here. So in all the direction, right, it is doing the filtering correctly by enabling this. So two scenarios. One is, if you want to do some kind of count, right, on the dimension table, right? So let's say you have enabled the cross bidirectional relationship between dim category and sales. You can filter the dim category by product, right? So that's what we have seen it, and also the calculations were perfectly coming up here. In the other scenarios, the reporting slicer. Okay. Next, what I do is I am going to disable all this bidirectional relationship, the manual way of setting it out. Okay. So now using DAX function, we will see how to programmatically compute these things. Okay, I just disable this one. So I make it single. So here I need okay, anyway, I make everything single. I just quickly go here and create a measure here. So here we are using the sales amount, isn't it? The sales amount, and we were using the count of product, everything, right? So the look here, it is all repeating here. Since these values are coming from my sales table, it shows correctly, and whereas here the both. So what we will do is we will write a DAX measure to this to fix this issue. Okay, here in this table we have, so in this table visual, these two values are coming from my, look here, when you select the visual, you can find this the tick mark on the right side, right, just beneath the fields you can find. So here we have used the order number and sales amount from this one, the cat ID is here, and the count of product ID is coming from here. So now how can I write a, or what we will do is to simplify this, right, I just start with the product ID. Okay, so what I do is I just want to count. So I just wanted to know for each order how many number of products purchased by the customer. So for that I just click on the new measure. So you need to go to the modeling tab and you need to click on the new measure. In the Power Query editor, you cannot create a DAX function. If you want to write any DAX function, right, so go to the report canvas and click on the modeling ribbon. There you will find the measure, new column, everything you'll find it here. Here I just say count of products. Here I'm going to use a function called calculate. Here I just use count of here I just use the product ID. Product ID is the text data type. What I do is, instead of using count, we have something called count here function. Product ID, cross filter, that's it. So here if you look at the syntax, it is pretty simple. Left column name, right column name, cross filter type. Here you need to specify single or both. In our case it is both. What is my left column name? What is my right column name? We can specify. So here we need to link up, we need to enable the cross filter direction both for the product ID table and the sales table, isn't it? So here my sales table is NC sales. Here let me select the product ID, comma, the right column name is product, dim product. In the dim product I just select product ID. The third argument is, most of them they forget this one, so comma both, that's it. You need to close this one. So I created it here. Sorry, I should have, okay, anyhow, not a problem. Okay, it is doing it correctly, isn't it? It is doing it correctly. To cross verify that, right, whether the measure is doing it correctly or not, temporarily I just go and make this relationship bidirection. Look here, both of them are matching. So for each order, how many number of products bought by customer? So what I would suggest is you can try using, I'll share this Power BI report to you all. Okay, you try the same for the count of categories. In each order, how many number of categories in under how many number of categories we sold the items, right? That you need to count it. Fine. So just give it a try. So here, so in this case, I did not enable this bidirectional relationship, isn't it? Just for cross verification. Fine. So here it is repeating all the value. If you count everything, you'll get 14. It's coming out correctly. Next scenario, yes, the advanced scenario. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, so instead of going to modeling, right? So the best practice is go to your table name. Here, if you click on this, here you will find new measure here. Okay. So what I do is I just click on this to create a new measure. Here I say something like I'm going to use more than one cross filter. Sales bidirection by something simple. Okay, I'm going to use calculate here. Let's say I'm going to say count A, or instead of using count all the time, I just say sum of sales amount. Since I'm using sum, make sure that you are closing the parenthesis. Most of them, they make the mistake here. They without using this parenthesis, right? They continuously type the subsequent command, cross filter, and here as usual left column name, right column name. Now I wanted to enable the bidirection relationship between the customer table and the sales table. So customer ID, here it is there, comma, next one is the NC sales customer ID. Okay, and comma, the third argument is both. Next, what I do is, see what you can do, you just, if you want to view it, you can press control. If you keep pressing control and press plus sign, right, it will it will maximize. So here what you do is you can, so alt and enter, so that you can type it in the next line. Alt and enter, right? If you hold the alt key and if you press enter, it will take you to the next line. And here what you do is you write cross filter, and we want to link up the product and this one, because we want to do the bidirectional thing, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use product ID, and from your product table, and here, because in this case I'm using two slicer, right? So third slicer you can ignore it, the category slicer, NC sales, and here what I do is product and product ID here, comma both. Okay, press enter. Sorry, I should have used one more parenthesis, right, for this one and that one. Yeah, I used it already. It's perfect, no error, nothing. You can click on here. I usually press enter. Okay, once I finish my script, I press enter. Instead of that, you can click this tick mark. So now it got created, right? So what I do is I'm going to so I'm going to remove this for the time being. Here we don't have any bidirectional relationship. So here I have created, I enable the bidirectional relationship between these two tables and these two tables. Okay, so that you should be able to filter this one, you should be able to filter this one. So in the case of slicer, what I'm going to do is, look here, I selected this slicer. So on the right side you can find something called filters pane. Just let me just check. Yeah, the filters are just beneath this. You will find filters on this visual. You can apply filter to a specific visual itself. For example, I have multiple. I have visual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 visuals are there. When I apply something here, the relevant data will get updated in the other visuals automatically. I don't want that to happen. Supposing if I apply any filter, right? Let's say here I'm going to put some filtering condition. Based on this condition, it should, let's say if I select this one, right? And I just show you this one. Anyhow, this one will be, this one I'll cover as part of visualization. Let's say if I select cashew nut, right? This filter will be applied to only this visual. It is local to this visual. Instead of in this case, if I select anything, the relevant data will get refreshed in the other visuals automatically. I don't want that to happen. If I apply any filter, I should be able to apply a filter to a specific visual itself. If I select cashew nut and 1 second. I just refresh this. Somewhere if I select cashew nut, only cashew nut gets selected. Only in this one, right? The associated slices or nothing else got filters. Look here, cashew nut, coffee, other things are also there, right? So we are applying the filter. This is one way of applying the filter to us, the single visual. Fine. I just clear this visual. How do I clear this filter? Here, I need to clear this one. See, there are two ways you can apply the filter. One is using slicers, you can apply the filters, or you can go to the filters pane. Just beneath this, you need to select the visual and go to the filters pane. Just beneath this, you will find filters on this visual. This one will get activated automatically. Okay, but if you don't select any visual, you will not find that option. Which option? Filters on this visual. Look here, if I click on the blank space here, that has gone. Filters on the specific visual, that option will get enabled only when you select the visual. Okay, here I selected it, hence it got enabled. So now what I do is, I created a measure, Sales BI. I just drag and drop this here. Okay, here what I do is, so look here, I have some blank value. I don't want the blank value should get displayed there. So now I applied this measure to this visual, apply filter, and I select this one. I just so now filters on this visual got activated. I just apply the measure on this one, and then here I say I don't want the blank values to appear there, and apply filter. Fine. I should have copied another page. Anyhow, if I apply a filter here, it should apply on this one also automatically. Look here, it got filtered, right? I just clear this one. Let us see the opposite is possible. If I select cashew nut, the relevant values should get filtered in this slicer also, and the other visual also. Good, superb, right? This is another way of you can programmatically enable the bidirectional relationship. This is another scenario, right? In the case of reporting canvas if you want to do for the slices, right? So in that case, if you want whatever you apply it, the other visual should also get refreshed. But if I don't use it, what will happen? In the previously I have shown, right, when you apply any filter on the customer slicer, it was not applying it, it was not filtering the product slicer, right? So now programmatically we are able to enable the bidirectional relationship. So in this case we enable the bidirectional relationship between the customer and sales table and product and sales table. Hence you can filter the product using customer table and vice versa. That is what is happening here. Hope you understood. This is little advanced one, but anyhow I have used the three different tables. Okay, hope with this you are able to understand the how to enable the filter direction programmatically, and also how to enable the bidirectional relationship using the manual. This is manual way of doing it. You go and manually select the manage relationship, and this is where you set it manually how to enable the bidirectional relationship, and DAX how to do that. Now you understood. And also how to perform the calculations, right? So that also you understood. Apart from filtering, all the things you understood. This one I will share it. We can along with the data set also, and you can just test it. Okay, instead of working with the bigger files, right? But when you work with more number of large volume of the data, it will be good, right? So that we will say it as sort of performance tuning. We will discuss more in detail how to perform how to tune, right? So how to perform tuning and all, we will see it later. So okay, next one is what we will do is we will quickly take a look at it. It's already we are left with 13 more minutes. What I will do is I just go ahead and show you the denormalization part. So here we can see a lot of tables are there. When you look at the product table, your subcategory and category, right? So we could see a snowflake schema here. By looking at this, we are able to make it out, right? For the time being, I am going to remove this one. We don't need this one to demonstrate denormalization. As for a denormalization, what I do is I combine all these three tables into a single table. Why should I combine all these three dimensions into a single dimension? The number one reason is we want to improve the query performance. If we store it in a multiple table, it requires multiple joins. I don't want multiple joins to happen. The more the joins you have, it will reduce the performance. And again, if you perform some kind of drill down, drill up and all, right? So at this level, hierarchy, if you look at the hierarchy, the category is at the top of the hierarchy, and second hierarchy is this one, right? In the hierarchy, the second one level is this one, and third level is this one. And again, so filtering and all is directly, if you want to filter, in the previous example you have seen it, right? The category and internet sales, these two are not directly linked up. So those kind of problems and all is there, right? So to overcome that, what we will do is we will combine these three dimensions into a single dimension. How we will do is we can use the simple SQL query, or what you can do is you can go to the Power Query editor and then we can do it. I'll just show you here. And especially when you work with large volume of data and more number of columns, right, you will have a lot of confusions. That is when you will pose a lot of challenges. Okay, and I just go to I am currently in the Power Query editor and I am in the home ribbon. On the right side of the home ribbon you will find the merge queries here. Okay, here what I do is I just select this one, merge queries as new. Here what I do is we want to combine First what we will do is we will merge product and product subcategory. Okay, here I am going to use left outer join. You need to specify the relationship between these two tables. Like in SQL, we specify left join or right join. So in the case of left join, you need to specify the common column between these two tables, right? Whether it's a left join or right join. So what we do is the product subcategory is here and product subcategory is here, right? These two are common between these two tables, but we can see something null here. Let it be there. Good. So next I'm going to do left join. I just refresh it. I don't need these columns. Let a product subcategory be there, and I just go and delete all these columns. These are not product name is required, and Spanish product name and other French and standard cost, all these things are not required. I just remove these columns. All I need is product ID, product name, probably product subcategory key, and the subcategory name and category ID. So the subcategory, product subcategory table have the category ID in it. The photo and all I don't need it. Arabic, there's a lot of columns are there. Look here, when it comes to real time, these are the confusing thing. Start date end also, let it be there. I will tell you why the status is very important. I am not going to disturb anything now on this. And the next one is, look here, in the product subcategory can find, look here, product subcategory 1 is there. You can see something called table here. So we want to get the product subcategory name that is there in this table. This column is called structured column. You need to select. So when you click on this icon, I just show you here. If you click on this double arrow, it will show you all the columns as part of your product subcategory table. So far what we have seen, right, all these things are related to my product table. And also you can see the product, since product table has relationship with the sales table, other things, right? It shows this one. Okay, and we can ignore these things now. All we need is, as part of the product table, we need the subcategory name and subcategory key, and we don't even need, what I do is I just deselect everything. I just select only the subcategory name, English product subcategory name. That's it. I don't need anything. And also importantly, I need the category key. So with this category key only I can combine or merge the product category table with this one. So in this merge, what we did, we are merging the product table with the subcategory table, but we need the category also, isn't it? But these two tables, in the subcategory table we can find the category key. We will keep the category key in this one. Okay, I just select this one. There is a rationale for these null values. I will tell you what that one later. Okay, look here we have values along with the nulls. Okay, good. It's not that all the values in the column are null. So this is my subcategory name. Okay, and this is my product category key. So what I do is I select these two, and I simply go here and I'm going to select the product category key, and this one product name, and we have the product category key is also there, subcategory key. For the time being, let it be there. The rest of them I just select now, remove other columns I don't need it. I just want to discard those things. Product subcategory name, product category key, product key, and product name, and category key. My god, category key, did I delete it? Category key is there, good. Okay, so now what I do is I just go to the merge queries as new. Now I do a left join of this merge 3 with product category, dim product category. So what is the common column between these two? The product category. Where is the category key? This is the one. I just select these two and I click OK. And I have here this one, structure table column. When I click on this, I can get the category name. Look here, I don't need all these things. I just, for my reference purpose, even I don't need this one now. Let it be there, category name. That's all. Rest I don't need it. That's all. Right, we are done. So I just move this here, product key first, for our understanding. Product key there, and the product name I just move it to the product name here, and this is my subcategory name, and the next one is category key. Also I don't need it. I just move the category name next to the subcategory name. I just select this. I just wanted to get rid of from this blank values. Okay, this is the category components. In this category we have different subcategories, and we have different types of products are there here. Somewhere you will find duplicate. It is not actually duplicate. That's where the SQL query is very much helpful, right? So to perform analysis on our own way. So now we are ready, right? So we are able to keep all the 3-dimension tables single table. So this table I just go and rename it as some meaningful name. Product, so this one, right? Subcategory is something like that, right? Okay, you can use some category, dim prod subcategory, something like that. Okay, so now this is what denormalization. Okay, if you want to do the same thing, you wanted to cross verify that, you can go to the SQL Server Management Studio and you can test it out there. So how do you test it out there? So I just, if you are interested, I'll just, we have just 2 more minutes, right? Just 1 more minute, or if you are okay to drop off, it is up to you. And I'll just show you with this one, any of date table. What we will do is this Thursday, we will have probably I will compensate that 1 day gap, right? So next week sometime, okay. And now what we will do is, I just go to why it takes longer time. I should have opened it already. This is one way of you can improve the query performance instead of having multiple tables. Meanwhile, let me just type the left join. You need to do the left join. Let me just type the script here. Select let's say I call as a p dot English product name, right? That one is English product name, and this is my product table and my subcategories. Here also we have the English product subcategory name is there. Product subcategory name, and we have the category. So here also we have English product category name is there. From I call the dim product as p comma, sorry, not comma, join. So I want to perform left join here. Left join all the products I want to match with the matching value on the right side, non-matching value in the left side. Okay, I want all the product. Okay, so dim product subcategory, or ideally product subcategory, this one is as yes, and this one I'm going to do a left join on my dim product category as C. Okay, and we need to specify on here. On I did not specify. We need to specify the common column, isn't it? Between the, so here I did not specify that one. On the yes dot, sorry, here I need to specify p dot product key, I guess, product key. The next one is, sorry, here I need to use the subcategory, right? So product subcategory key, and yes dot product, I think I believe yes, product subcategory key. And with this I'm going to do one more left join. Here what I do is I just copy paste this one. Here what I do is this is, so in this result set we have the category key, right? So yes dot product category key, and then here I'm going to do the C dot product category key. So is it correct? Yes, I think so, it is correct. That's all. So where is my SS, where is that? Oh my god, okay, it is ready now. What I will do is I will share a video how to install the demo database on your SQL Server Management Studio. So now I just open the new query. I just simply paste that one here, and let me see if everything is correct. Yeah, somewhere some problem here. Dim product, invalid object name, dim product. Let me just expand this one. Yeah, we have dim product, right? So let me just go here and use adventure works 20. This is the one, and next one is go. Press F5. Cool, it's working fine. So now you can see null here, product subcategory name, right? So the null value is there. What I do is I say and English product, this is pretty much helpful, is not null, and sorry, this is my yes, right? Yes dot English product category name, and C dot English product category name is not null. Good, no syntax error. English product subcategory name is not null, and English product category name is not null, but still it is showing null value. But we have some values here. The reason why we have some everything, the GitHub is there, right, Pramod? GitHub link, do you have it? No, not only deep neuron. So in the GitHub, everything is there. Okay, you go and check it. The data set, everything. Okay. The website is down. It got crashed. Okay, someone deleted the folder. But anyhow, GitHub, everything is there. You have the GitHub link, right? I will just share it later. Yes. Okay. Then you should be able to pick up from there. Okay. So look here. So everything is available here. So only thing is, let us try to understand why we are getting null here. How many of you are aware of the slowly changing dimension? English product name, and comma star from something like, okay, dim product. So here we will give 212. We can see something here, right? So these are the things. We'll check it out. So this is the row number, right? Okay, I just want to give some known value to me. 212 and 213, comma 215, comma 216. These are the product key. 216. Look here. I just want to check if this is available or not. Look here. If you look here, 212, on the right side you will find something like the state code, start code, status, right? Status is null is there. If you look at here, the helmet red and helmet, these three product names are same. The product keys are different. Okay, the product keys are, because it's a surrogate key. Okay, and what I do is, and status is not null. Better I'll just give like this. And see, even in the dimension table, they maintain the history. Not only in the fact table they maintain the history, even in the dimension table also we maintain the history. As I discussed in the last session, as part of data warehouse, we maintain the historical data. Historical data in the sense, the fact table in general, that is where we store the historical data. Even in the case of dimension table, as I told you in the last session, a customer, when he changes the address, we store the customer's current address as well as the previous address. The customer address we store in customer dimension, isn't it? Similarly, the product also, because the prices are changing over a period of time. So here what I do is s dot or p dot status. P dot status is not null. But still it shows some null values here. Anyhow, you can I will share a video for how to install the demo database, right? You can try this query, but this is the one. Look here, we can get it we are getting everything, but only thing is the null value is coming, right? So we need to check why the null value is coming. You can probably check. See, basically what they do in the case of dimension to maintain the history. Let's say you have a product table, right? So in the product table, what they do is, for example, product key is 10, and let's say product A, and in case of any changes to the price, right? They use something called effective start date and effective end date and all. So the product price. So along with this, they maintain the price also here, list price, something like that. Okay, effective start date and end date. So with this, they track in between which date to which date, what is the price. Later point in time, if you want to perform some kind of analysis from which date to which date we made changes to the prices for which product, and because of which, right, how much variation we could see in the revenue. So for that purpose, what they do is for effective end date. Okay, and here what they do, right, the effective end date, the last one, they I think they put it null or so. Okay, so and along with that the maintain status also. The status should be current. Yeah, so here you can specify status is equivalent to current, something like that. Like only show me only the current status. Okay, don't show me everything. But I'm not sure whether they used the small letter or big letter. Still it shows this one. Okay, the subcategory, right, ideally I should have mentioned, you can try with the, instead of P we can use CS here. Even in the subcategory also, I guess they would have, no, status is not there, it will be there in the product table only usually. Okay, so with this query we are able to successfully denormalize it, but only thing is you need to check why it is null, because these products, right, it would have got expired. As I told you, the same product multiple times they store it. Okay, and let's say when the price changes for the same product after a month or whenever the price changes, the previous status will become null. So obviously, right, the some records will not be there, because of which some confusion will be there. Okay, it's not a confusion, because of which it is not checking, it is not coming out correctly. Okay, so you can probably, by querying this, you can, but this is the one we use it to do the denomination, right? So this is the one perfectly working. Only thing is you need to check the reason for the null and all. Okay, fine. So this report as well as the data set, the data set for this one is already available in SQL Server. Okay, this is a commonly available demo. This is given by Microsoft. One way it is good, because showing the demo with this much complex tables with this huge volume of data, it is not possible practically. But anyhow, we'll try to simulate with other data sets also in the upcoming session. So we are left with the date table, custom date table creation. So we will see that on this upcoming Friday. Okay, sorry, thanks for all your patience. I took much of your time. Any questions? Okay, since you don't have any questions, I'm going to wrap up. I just share my video, and this data set and this file also I will share it. Start practice it. Okay.